Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Dear friends, I want to tell you about this very special project. The Vedanta Center of North Carolina is an ashram which at present has a very small premises, but it has been expanding. The activities of the ashram have expanded, and the footfall of the devotees, large numbers of devotees and interested visitors have been coming here over the last 4-5 years, more than that. And the present facilities are entirely inadequate. Larger facilities are needed for the visitors and those who are going to come in the future. So there is the project of building a universal temple on the land already with the ashram. And this project is imminent. It has begun, and the construction is about to begin very soon. I would like to appeal to one and all to contribute whatever you can, however much you feel comfortable with, to this wonderful project. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that the best use of money is in the service of God and in the service of the holy. I feel that if there is one being who is not ungrateful, it is God. So when we offer our service and our resources, financial resources, or in whichever way we help, it is an offering to the Lord. It is also a very wise and insightful thing to do for the welfare of the community. The large numbers of Indians, immigrants who have settled in this Raleigh-Durham area is a wonderful investment in the future of the children, of your grandchildren. It's an investment in the future of the Hindu community here. The message of harmony and the message of service which goes out from this center and which will go out in the years and decades and centuries from this universal temple, it is of great benefit. It's a great blessing, not only to the community here in Raleigh-Durham, but to the state of North Carolina itself and to the national life of the United States. It's a most wonderful opportunity, and we feel blessed to be part of this great project. Please take part in it and please contribute to the best of your ability. This is my prayer. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishnaarpanamastu. Yes, please go ahead. Let's start.
Swamiji, thank you. Thank you to be here and for your blessings. Because you have a discussion with David Charmer, Sam Harris, and Bernardo Castro. So my question is that if God is infinite, eternal, and omnipresent, encompassing everything and every time, and the consciousness in all things, why does the level of consciousness vary across creation? Why are objects like tables and chairs are not conscious at all, even though God is present within them? Why do plants and animals exhibit lower level of consciousness compared to humans? If God is pure awareness and is everywhere, why isn't everything equally self-aware? Does awareness require a physical structure, such as a complex network of neurons or a brain-like configuration to manifest?
The answer to all of them is yes. No, it is true. Now, when you see there are the differences in the level of consciousness, from an Advaitic perspective, you can see there are no levels of consciousness. There are no differences in consciousness. All differences are in the object. So there are differences in bodies. This is a body, complex body with neurons and stuff. This is a body, much more simpler body. There are differences in minds. Our minds are all different, but they are all objects. Objects are different. There can be different levels, gradations, variations in objects. In the pure subject, there can be no difference. There can be no levels. You might ask, why not? Are you stipulating that? Is there some reason? If you just look at it, it will become pretty obvious. If there are differences, let me ask you, are those differences known or unknown? If they are known, then they are objects. If they are unknown, you say, no, that there be differences in consciousness, but they are unknown. If they are unknown, why speak of it? So unknown and unknowable, then don't speak about it. If the differences are clear, then definitely the differences belong to objects. And variation in an object is perfectly fine with Advaita Vedanta. Now, consciousness is manifest somewhere. You used words like self-aware. Yeah, we are self-aware. As far as we know, these things are not self-aware. Even ChatGPT is not self-aware, as far as we know. And if you ask ChatGPT also, it will tell you, I'm not self-aware. One person did an experiment. I tried my best to convince ChatGPT that it is conscious, but it refused. So I'm not conscious. So, self-awareness. Even sometimes we are self-aware, sometimes we are not. You're very absorbed in something, you're not self-aware. You're playing a game of tennis, completely absorbed in it. You have no time to think about anything, even about yourself. In fact, some of the highest, best moments of concentration are maybe you are not self-aware. You're playing somebody's a tabla player, a good instrumental music player. You know your best performance is when you are not self-aware. You practice and practice and practice, and then when you perform, you are not self-aware. If you are, I am going to play this way now, you're going to fail miserably. So, self-aware is a product of consciousness acting on the mind at certain times. That is not consciousness in itself. In fact, consciousness is very much there when you are not self-aware. Also, remember, let me go a little deeper in the philosophy of it, just mention this. I'm using words like consciousness. But by now, we must be quite, we get it, that we are not using words like consciousness in the way it is normally used. The way it is normally used in consciousness studies, in medicine, in psychology. That is this empirical, experiential consciousness we are talking about. This pure consciousness, this basis of all experience. There is no cognate to that, no corresponding word for that in English so far, or even in modern thought. But it was very well known in ancient India, not just in Vedanta, in Sankhya, schools of Buddhism, it was very well known. So that pure consciousness is also in Vedanta being, existence. Always we use the term Sat Chit. Now look at the world. Yes, everywhere we see existence. This exists, this is, that is, he is, she is, isness, existence is everywhere. In fact, where existence is not there, that thing doesn't exist. But only in our own case, in your own mind, you will find that existence is your own existence. Think about it. Our own existence in ourselves is also a shining existence. It is, I am and I'm aware. I am and I'm aware. That existence is also consciousness when we experience our own existence. In fact, the words I am, there are two parts to it. If you look even more closely, am means existential, it exists, is. But I is always a conscious I. So Sat and Chit are both present in that I am. We'll leave it at that. Yes.
Swamiji, I'm deeply grateful for your teachings. My name is Shrima, and my question is about the word Ananda, which is translated as bliss. So, unlike Sat and Chit, which is awareness and consciousness, which seems to be more certain, the word bliss seems to lend itself to some kind of quality or quantity. So I'm just wondering if that is,
yes,
if it's a better...
I understand what you mean, and people think about it this way also. When you say bliss, joy, bliss, ananda, the Sanskrit word ananda means this, ecstasy, bliss. It sounds cool, it sounds nice, and I would like to have some of that, but it sounds very psychological. It's in a conscious being, within the mind you feel some happiness. Isn't that what is meant? How can that be the ultimate reality of the universe? This is real. Those things are they in bliss? So let's take a step back. When you say Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, bliss is the ultimate reality of the universe, Brahman, and you are that. What we are trying to say is, this is an answer to the deepest questions of philosophy. Were you there in the Duke University talk? Yeah. So, you know where I'm leading. The deepest questions of philosophy, the greatest questions we can ask. One, the question of philosophy which which one branch of philosophy asks is, what's real? That's the branch we call metaphysics or ontology. Reality. What is reality and what is real in this world? Is God real? Are black holes real? Is superstrings real? Are demons and devils real? What is real? Is Harry Potter real? If so, in what sense? What is real? That's the branch called metaphysics or ontology. The second branch of philosophy, the big question is, how do we know anything? Because the moment you start talking about heaven, earth, God, free will, things like that, always the question, epistemological question will be asked. How do you know? Can you share your process of knowledge? So that epistemology, how is knowledge possible? That's the second branch of philosophy called epistemology. And the third branch of philosophy, we ask as human beings, what's the point of all this? Is there any fulfillment, any satisfaction, any ultimate fulfillment available in this world? Is there any ultimate goal, point, purpose to all of this? And Vedanta's answer is one answer to all three questions. What an amazing way of looking at Satchidananda. What is ultimately real? Sat, being itself, existence itself. How is any knowledge possible? Chit, consciousness. And what's the point of it all? Ananda, bliss. But these three, here's the answer. These three are not three different things. We are talking about one ultimate reality, which the way when we try to grasp it in with our intellect, we will have to say it is being itself, from which the whole universe, whatever exists, takes its existence from Sat. It is consciousness itself. All experience, what we call life itself, takes its reality from Chit. And the point of it all is because that ultimate reality is Ananda, it's bliss. In that sense, it is Ananda. For example, in the Upanishads, sometimes the word Ananda is replaced by Ananta. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Ultimate reality is existence, consciousness, infinity. So Ananda here, the very limitlessness of your own existence is Ananda. Let me repeat that. What do you mean by bliss? Is it a feeling, you feel good? Is that what is meant by bliss, Ananda? No. Your absolute clear knowledge. And one, I am, I exist, no doubt about it. Second, my existence is limitless. This certain limitless existence, absolutely certain limitless existence, if you contemplate it, you will say it is limitless bliss. It is fulfillment. It is what Wittgenstein called the ultimate security. That's why it's called Ananda. Now practically if you ask, so suppose if I realize this, will I get bliss or not? Come down to the brass tacks, the dollar value of it. Will I get some happiness or not? You will get lots and lots of happiness. Ultimately, does enlightenment have a smiley face emoji or not? It does. And what is the proof? You look at the lives of the great saints. They are very happy people. One thing common, they are very diverse, men and women throughout the centuries, different religions, different civilizations. But one thing was common to all of them. None of them was whining, grumbling and saying, yeah, I'm enlightened, but I still have some gripes. I have still a list of complaints. No. One thing common to all of them, they were deeply satisfied. In the midst of very difficult lives sometimes. Many of them had much more difficult lives than us. And yet somehow they had deep, endless wells of satisfaction within them. Yeah, that is Ananda. Thank you.
Swamiji, thank you so much for being here. My name is Matthew. Yes. I have the privilege of seeing you at all three events this weekend. But I did have a question I wanted to ask, and it's, I used to be one of the new atheists until I found you on Sam Harris's podcast and heard Drisha Viveka recitation. And I have to say, it was life-changing. I've been lucky to follow Vedanta for a few years now. My parents, on the other hand, are very, very strict Southern Baptists who would be, frankly, very, very upset if they knew I was here this weekend. Can you speak a little bit towards how Vedanta, which is inquiry-based, navigates a lot of the exclusivity claims of religions that are very prominent in the West?
Yes. So that's another thing, when you talk about the allure of Vedanta, another thing that attracted me to Vedanta and attracts a lot of people to Vedanta is, like Dr. Das said, the non-sectarian approach. How can Vedanta be non-sectarian? The reason being, listen, what we talked about today, the limitless existence consciousness bliss, it's common to all of us. You don't have to be a Hindu for it. The Hindus can lay this claim to it that we came upon it first and we developed it into a deep philosophy thousands of years ago. And a practical philosophy, step by step, you can realize it for yourself. That's a great thing. But it is common to everybody. It doesn't say that you have to belong to my religion to get the benefit of this, or you have to subscribe to my sect to get the benefit of this. No, 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 no. And not only is it non-sectarian, it's universal. Even if you don't believe in Vedanta itself, none of this what we said today, if you don't accept it, Vedanta will still say you are Brahman anyway. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you believe it or not. A monk in the Himalayas, I still remember his voice in Gangotri. Tum mano ya na mano, jano ya na jano, tum hi Ram. Whether you accept it or not, whether you know it or not, you are Rama. So that divine nature within us will not change. So that's one thing on the basis of non-sectarianism in Vedanta. But the second, even more beautiful thing is, it does not deny or reject other approaches. This is clearly as an approach, as you said, a self-inquiry approach. Now what is Vedanta's view about religions, about faith systems, belief systems? Vedanta actually explains all of them. It doesn't reject or deny them. It tells you, you begin to see from Vedantic perspective what's going on there. That also is real. That also will work. And the Vedanta makes you non-exclusive. It makes you very open. You can be as rooted as you want in your church. You can be as rooted, you should be loyal and rooted in your own spiritual path. Hinduism offers a tremendous variety, a bewildering variety, in fact, a colorful variety of different paths, different deities. That's because, how is it possible? Why don't they fight among each other? There is friendly rivalry. But a Frenchman visiting India in the late 18th century, I think, he give a very nice account of a fight between two sects in Hinduism. I think Vaishnavites and Shaivites in South. So they came, they shouted insults at each other, and then after some time, some yelling and some commotion, they left. It reminds me very much of a fight between cousins in the same family. Not the deadly strife that we have had in Europe between Catholics and Protestants for centuries, murderous warfare. No, not at all. Why? What enables you to accept so much diversity? Because this underlying idea, the truth is one, the wise speak of it differently. So in that church, the elders are teaching you this is the meaning of Christianity and the Bible and Christ. That's also the wise speaking differently. The benefit of Vedanta is it stretches you. It tells you, you are right. If you like this path and you've been following it, follow it. Be sincere in your path and you will attain to the goal. But also, don't say, I have exclusive possession of the truth. The other person is also going to attain the goal in his or her own path. So these two, one, the neutral, impersonal aspect, which is common to everybody regardless of belief. That's what makes Vedanta non-exclusive, non-sectarian. Second, all the other sects, Vedanta explains them, at least to ourselves. Other sects might say, I don't agree with your explanation. Fine, at least we agree. In our own mind, we understand religion works in this way. This is what Aldous Huxley called the perennial philosophy. I strongly recommend that book, The Perennial Philosophy. Not many people read it now. It's a beautiful collection from the world's religions, showing the underlying unity of this great idea. The truth is one, the wise speak of it differently. Thank you. When do we have a hard stop?
So where does grace fall into that?
Yes. It is impersonal, but remember, it's not impersonal to the exclusion of personality. Right? It is the impersonal reality underlying all personalities. Vivekananda says, so Vedanta is impersonal, but with space for as many personalities as you want. If you start and limit yourself to a personal religion, what happens is it becomes exclusive. If I am devoted to God as this personality, whether it's Krishna or Jesus, I can always still become fanatical. Only this. Because clearly, Here is one name, one form, one story. And anything else other than that becomes not spiritual, not religious, not even true for me. Whereas if you're impersonal, you can say, yes, Krishna, yes, Rama, yes, Christ, yes, Buddha, yes, Muhammad, yes. The underlying impersonal reality can manifest in a wide range of personalities. Not to say that those are wrong or false. All of them are real because underlying them is one truth. But the one truth has to be impersonal. Then only it can support all personalities. It's like the formless water, which can appear in various forms of various icebergs, only because the original reality water is formless, and therefore it supports all forms. The water in this bottle has a particular shape. The water in a cup will have another shape. The water falling from the sky has another shape. All the shapes belong to water, but because water itself has no particular shape. So that's the idea of the impersonal, personal reality. So in Vedanta, do you worship a personal God? Certainly. But all personal gods are equally welcome. So what do you do? Practically, as a Vedantist, do I have to worship a whole spectrum of gods? No. Here comes another idea in Vedanta called Ishta Devata, the desired or the chosen deity. So the Vedantist would say for Christians, the chosen deity is Christ and our Father in heaven. For the Muslims, the chosen deity would be Allah. For the Vaishnavite Hindu, the chosen deity is Krishna. But the Vedantist says all of them are that absolute existence consciousness place. Yeah. I don't know if that answers the question. Notice yourself. You are both impersonal and personal. You're a person. But when you do a Vedantic analysis, you find the impersonal absolute behind the person. And so it's the same thing for God also. Thank you.
Hi, Swami. Thank you for coming here. I've wanted to come to New York Vedanta Society. I pressed for my dad every holiday. I'm I want to see Swami Sarvapriyananda. And now you've come here. I think
Good.
it's a great blessing. My name is Niyantri.
Yes.
I don't know who said that. I came here and I was like, I have so many questions I want to ask. But through your talk, I developed one question that is separate from. I even brought this book. I had a question from that.
What's the book?
This is like personality development. It's just that compilation of Vivekananda's talks. But when you were speaking, I had a very specific thought that popped up when you were speaking of that story of the telescope. So when you said that the universe that you see with the telescope is the ultimate reality, and then that speck is what I guess ego is what I understood from that, right? But I wondered, is that ego is also, or Maya as we say, is also Brahman, is it not?
Yes.
So is the nature of Brahman to be unchanging completely, or is that nature of Maya actually what it truly is? I don't know how to explain.
No,
perfectly.
but I understand what you mean. Yeah, it's difficult to explain it because we are operating on the margin of language, where what language can do and cannot do. It's very difficult to put it into words. Think of Brahman in this way, not as unchanging. Brahman is said to be unchanging in contrast to the changing world, the changing samsara. So Brahman is unchanging. But Brahman is not even unchanging. Unchanging is something that has the possibility of change but is not changing. But Brahman is not like that. It's actually the ground of the unchanging and the changing. That which appears as the unchanging God and that which appears as the changing samsara, both are Brahman. The Buddhists put it this way: the primordial ground on which samsara and nirvana both appear, the limitless unchanging moksha and the always changing samsara, both are that Brahman. Both are appearances of that Brahman. Yeah. So this is the answer to that question. Did that make sense to you? Yes. Notice yourself as a body, as a mind, as a person, continuously changing, always in flux. But the real indubitable reality about yourself, that ground, that witness consciousness, that is beyond all these changes. Now, will you say it's unchanging? You can say it's unchanging, but really, when you say unchanging, it feels like an unchanging object. It's not an unchanging object. It is the witness of all changing objects. You might say it's even beyond the changing and the unchanging. Yeah, that's the way to look at it. Thank you.
Pranam Swamiji. My name is Parul. And my question comes from self-inquiry. Like when I'm doing self-inquiry, the seer and the seeing. When I'm seeing, I'm using my mind to tell myself and inquire who's seeing. And then during neti neti, my mind becomes an object, but during self-inquiry, I'm using the same knife to cut it out. So mind becomes a tool at that time. And then the thought of I'm not this mind, I'm not this body. Is it for the mind, or because the seer, the second bird, already knows it's Tattvam Asi?
Yes.
So when I do the self-inquiry, the second bird is already aware of
All right.
itself.
I think I understand where you're leading with this. See if this works for you. Answer is, it's all for the mind. It's at the level of the mind and all for the mind. But you are not at the level of the mind, nor are you for the mind. The mind is for you. You are already beyond the mind. But all sadhana, all meditation, all inquiry is at the level of the mind. One might ask, I'm talking about something beyond the mind, transcending the mind. How? But I'm using the mind all the time. How can I get beyond the mind by using the mind? That might be the question. And the answer is, you don't have to get beyond the mind by using the mind. You are already beyond the mind. The problem is at the level of the mind, and the solution should also come at the level of the mind. The problem is not you, the Atman. The problem is the ignorance which is in the mind. And knowledge should arise in the mind and remove the ignorance in the mind. And the mind, which we used to say earlier, I am body mind. The same mind should say, I am Satchidananda. Now your question might be, but the mind is not Satchidananda. It's an appearance. Mind is not the Atman. The mind is a part of the first bird. It's not part of the second bird. It's not the second bird. How can the mind say, I am the second bird? It can. The mind is an instrument. For example, let me give an example. I can say, I am happy. I am feeling happy. How did I say it? I said it with the entire vocal apparatus. The tongue said, I am happy. Is the tongue happy or is the mind happy? The mind is happy. But to say anything, I have to use the tongue. The tongue is an instrument which pronounces the statement, I am feeling happy, but it is referring to the mind. The mind can't speak directly by itself. When you say in the mind, I am the witness consciousness, it is referring to you, the witness consciousness. It's not referring to the mind. Mind is an instrument which expresses that knowledge. Tongue can speak. The mind can think. That's its purpose. You are beyond both speech and thinking. Yes.